If you look at balance on exchanges, continue to go down, 4-year low, right? I just showed you guys, looking at all the major exchanges, none of them had a big influx of Bitcoin. So the number of Bitcoin is still leaving the exchanges more and more and more so. So this is the reason why we want to continue to hold, is because, I mean, we're already seeing it, right? We're already seeing all the countries right now. We're starting to see repercussions of high inflation, endless printing. And despite the fact short term, we got a lot of volatility. Basically, the lesson is you don't want to fight the Fed. But long term, what's happening is Federal Reserve and all the central banks around the world, they're basically killing themselves. They're basically dying. And countries are going to suffer for it, and especially citizens of those countries, right? But you have something like Bitcoin, you don't see the number go up. It's not being inflated upwards. There's no monetary policy. There's no quantitative easing or tightening. It's all governed by code, and it's only getting more and more scarce as more people buy it and take it off exchanges, and as every halving event occurs, which will be in another 2 years. All right, and then what else is positive? I mean, if people are buying Bitcoin and taking off the exchanges, well, then this makes sense. The number of addresses holding 1+ coins, 1+ Bitcoin, has reached an all-time high once again. It seems like every single week I show this, you can't fake this kind of data. There are more people coming into space and taking advantage, and more people around the world are learning about what's going on with fiat and the banks and inflation and quantitative tightening, easing, and monetary policy, all these things I've said, right? And more are turning to harder assets that can't inflate like Bitcoin. There you go. Right now, if we still continue just, even if we don't move at all, this will be one of the worst August months that we have ever seen for Bitcoin, going all the way back to 2015. That's 2 cycles ago. Well, you could argue that's like 3 cycles ago. That's when I really got into Bitcoin, like 2013, 2014, when things came down. But in 2015, it got really bad. And then, you know, this is as bad as that. If you're looking at historical charts, right, you could see that August usually is a mixed month. There's some good, some bad, but you could see early on we had some very bad months. 2014, 2015, right, bad. 2016, bad, and so forth, right? Here's the kicker, though. If you look at historically for September has been absolutely brutal for Bitcoin, right? It has been traditionally all red. But here's the thing. You look at some of those prior months to those years. For example, in 2021, we had a bad September, but why was that? We had a great August and a great July. That's why, right? You look at in 2020, we had a bad September. Well, again, we had a great July and a good August. And you know what? So I think a lot of these trends are being broken right now. Obviously, if you go back to April has been historically good month for Bitcoin. You could see 30, 34 gains in April. Obviously, we didn't have a good April this year, right? So I do think a lot of these trends are just really, they're being broken this year. We can't really rely on the history of previous months from previous years and previous cycles versus now, because the environment is just totally different. So who knows? Maybe instead of a red month, we're going to get a gigantic green month for September. But, you know, I've been saying how I'm still clinging on hope for the final few months of this year. So you could look at October, historically a fantastic month. Same thing November and December. Look at in 2020, we ended the year with positive 27% October, positive 43% in November, positive 47% in December. And that was 2020, right? Coming off, and that was a year during the COVID pandemic, coming off one of the worst crashes we have seen for markets and Bitcoin. And look at that kind of recovery, right? Can we see something like that happen this year? Seeing how much we sold off, I'm clinging on hope that we could see a decent recovery at the end of the year. So something to look forward to. Now, looking at this question, is worse over for Bitcoin and crypto, I came up with that because I did see one analyst that claims so, and that's Plan B. Plan B believes that the worst of market expectations are already priced in, meaning he believes that all the macro conditions that we're expecting, or the macro conditions that are here and expecting, have already been priced in. I would say yes and no, because macro conditions could get much worse, right? Especially overseas. Obviously, Plan B is not even based in the U. I don't think he's even in the U.S. So if you're looking at, what's happening with Europe, what's happening in China, what's happening with, globally, right? Macro conditions could definitely get worse. In the U.S., it seems like we're kind of set, right? But, all this economic data that's going to come out is going to confirm whether or not we're truly doing really well or not. But, macro conditions around the world seems to be getting worse. So I don't know if everything has been priced in. But if things stay steady as they are, then maybe. And he also did post this in terms of, well, it looks like the stock to flow chart, but this is actually percent BTC in loss, and calculating that. This is one of those are like models. Like Nupal, which that kind of calculates realized losses and gains, and looks at and basically predicts a bottom, right, with it. And it's looking like we are definitely coming off from bottom, just like in 2018 and 2015, although we're kind of like extending a little bit, right? So we'll see. Last few months will definitely be exciting, that's for sure. And I'm looking forward to it. And I believe many of you guys are too. If you're looking to buy Bitcoin and crypto for the first time and you don't know where to get started, head over to CryptosRus.com and click on the best exchange guide. Within, you'll find a list of exchanges that I recommend and some that I use on a daily basis. If you are outside the US, I highly recommend looking at Binance.com first. They are the biggest exchange out there, supported in almost every single country. They have a fantastic fiat on-ramp, off-ramp system. They offer the most trading pairs and the lowest fees in the industry. You could also download a mobile app onto your Android and Apple device very easily. If you are in the US, I recommend taking a look at the sister company of Binance, Binance.us, which offers all of these things and more. So if you want to learn more, head over to CryptosRus.com or utilize the links in the description of this video.